Welcome back to MMA Al Dente. I am the guy who picked Todd Duffy to defeat Mike Rousseau. And I apologize for the violence here. I really should have given some sort of warning or something. This is pretty unseemly. But anyway, I'm here to talk about Timothy Cuamba versus Lucas Almeida. And my prediction for this fight is Timothy Cuamba wins. With a gun to my head, I'd go with a knockout. But if these guys went the distance, I would think Timothy wins the decision as well. That's because Lucas Almeida is so dangerous that anytime he wins, it's by finish. But I'll get to Lucas Almeida's record in a second. Here, I'm going to talk about Timothy Cuamba first. He's got a record of 8-2. And his two losses include his last fight against Balaji Oki in his UFC debut, where I thought he definitely lost the fight, even though one of the judges gave the victory to him. It was a split decision. But Timothy battled hard. He took the fight on short notice, moving up in weight. All the circumstances were against him, and he gave Balaji a good fight. Looked tough, taking his loss, but also was able to, in my opinion, steal round 2 in the end, and made it close enough on paper. But his other loss comes to this guy, Ivan Taina, who beat him in 2021 in Combate Global, and that was a rear naked choke in round 1. That was a fight where Timothy was trying to take him down pretty much for 3 minutes. Wasn't able to. He kind of got him down briefly, but he wasn't able to impose himself on the ground, just kept struggling for the control. And the guy Ivan was able to get out of it, put him in a guillotine, swivel over and do a rear naked, and tap him out pretty quickly, in 3.5 minutes. Wasn't the best look for him, but hey, he only had 3 professional fights at that point. So those are his 2 losses, and his wins, he's got 8 wins, 4 via knockout and 4 via decision. And the guys looked damn good in his wins. He hasn't beaten too many great fighters. His last 2 wins were over solid guys. Michael Stack, he beat by head kick knockout on at Tough Enough 135. And he was doing well there anyway, but closed the show over a good fighter with a head kick. And he beat Mateo Alejandro Vogel on the Contender Series. That was a good fighter that he beat. That guy Vogel's beaten some good UFC fighters. And even though he was controlled in the end, he had to be chopped down, really, by the kicks, the leg kicks of Vogel throughout that fight to be controlled in round 3. But he still toughed it out in round 3 with a good jiu-jitsu guy on top of him, all over him. And definitely got the better of the striking throughout the whole fight, and especially early on. So it was a great victory for him. That's probably his best win. And then the other guys he's beaten, nobody that great. But he's looked good in just about all of them. Not too many dicey moments. So he's got a nice, good record. And that 1 loss in his last fight is a very forgivable loss. I'm glad it goes down as a split decision because he did take the fight under some shitty circumstances. So it makes it look good. But he definitely lost that fight. And Lucas Almeida, he's got a record of 14-3. His 14 wins include 9 knockouts and 5 submissions. He's very dangerous. Most of his wins come in round 1, as do most of the wins of anybody who just is a destroyer like that. But he's also gotten wins later. One even in round 5, and of course in round 3 against Michael Trizano in an excellent battle where both guys were hurt. Each guy got dropped with left hooks, and Lucas Almeida was the last one swinging, and he caught Trizano in round 3 and knocked him out. And that was an awesome win and a great way to make his UFC debut. He's got 3 losses, 1 via knockout, 1 via submission, 1 via decision, all at the UFC level. The knockout comes in his last fight to Andre Fili. Fili, I don't have to tell you who he is. He's been in the UFC for well over a decade at this point. I think well over a decade. And he was able to clip that chin 3 minutes into the fight. He got clipped with a right hand in the middle of a combination, and he went down, and Fili put him away. Pat Sabatini dominated him on the ground for 1.5 rounds and got him out of there with an arm triangle choke. He got a 10-8 round, in my opinion, and round one was all over him, dominating him. And then in round two, at the end of a bloody destruction, he got him out of there with an arm triangle choke. And his first loss was to Daniel Zellhuber, who is kicking ass in the UFC pretty much. And that was a decision loss on the Contender Series where Lucas did bring the Lucas Almeida danger early on, but he wasn't able to close the show on Daniel. And then Daniel definitely outpointed him down the stretch. Cardio was an issue there, but it's not like he was gasping for air. So he's been beaten every which way, but he's starting to look a little more vulnerable. Of course, Trezano had him hurt badly. Andre Fili TKO'd him, and Pat Sabatini mauled him. So in his last few fights, he's had a real rough go of things. And I can't say he's got a weak chin now because Andre Fili knocked him out. But between the knockout and the knockdowns and all taking place recently, I think Timothy Cuamba, with his extra power, I think he's got the harder overhand punch here and the harder hooks. I think he's got the better chance of a knockout. Lucas Almeida, he's going to be going for knockouts. He's not going to be trying to jab and, joust with Timothy Cuamba, and he's the more proven, dangerous guy. So there's a chance he clips Timothy Cuamba. But Cuamba, he looks pretty healthy so far, and he's shown he can take it and defeat against Balaji Oki. So I'm thinking that combined with his agility and athletic advantage, he's going to be the much faster guy on the back foot and the front foot, really dictating the fighting. So I think he'll be able to keep himself safe from Lucas Almeida. Timothy Cuamba is the pick. I think he does catch that chin of Lucas Almeida and get him out of there. But if I'm wrong, I do think he's got enough skills and enough traits to be able to survive and outpoint Lucas Almeida anyway. So I bet on Timothy Cuamba, his money line. But like every fight, I'll wait for the props. And you know what? As far as Lucas Almeida goes on the flip side, if he was the win, I'd say it's definitely going to be via finish. He's not a great point fighter. Again, unless he knocks you half dead on multiple occasions. But he hasn't won a decision yet, and those props as an underdog could be enticing. I would favor, if you told me he won, I'd say probably knockout, but Timothy Cuamba's only lost once via finish, and it was a submission, and Almeida's got 5 submissions as well, a lot of them arm triangles and whatever, but, where he's bullied the guy physically. But still, it's a possibility. So I'll wait to see the props, but as of now, Timothy Cuamba, I'm comfortable with my bet on him. And the prediction is knockout. So I'll wait for that prop. Like, share, subscribe, all that horse shit, and check out my other videos.